A very good evening to all of you. Today, as you all know, today we are having a session on Essay 500 series by the eminent faculty CA Harish Krishnan from Hyderabad. A practicing chartered accountant and holder of advance in diploma in management accounting from CIMA. He is a prominent and a renowned faculty specialized in auditing and EISSM at both level and final level. He has produced excellent results and meritorious students over last 7 years of his teaching experience. And Sir has an immense following across the country for his exam-oriented live training and revision sessions on YouTube. On attending his classes, one would understand the importance of conceptual clarity and coupled with practical applicability. This approach makes the subject interesting and scoring. Firstly, I thank Sir for having accepted our invitation and uh, to plan a program with us. Even though it is just 2 hour session, I'm sure it would be interesting as Sir is known for his teaching in this particular subject. Thank you, Sir, for accepting our invitation. Thank you to all the students joining now, and a very and happy evening to all of you. I'm sure this session would be very interesting, and I also request all the students to share this with your friends as much as possible, so that everyone gets the benefit out of it. As far as auditing is concerned, essays are very tough. Few students find it very tough. I'm sure the session will help the students to get a hang on in these topics. So happy evening to
Okay, first of all, a very good evening to all of you. Still seeing some of people joining, so let's give them a minute. And okay, good evening to all of you. Saying good evening, very good evening to all of you. So today's agenda is about doing the 5 series standards. Now we all know how important audit evidence is to an auditor. So it's really important for us to understand all the 5 series standards. And let's start with all the 5 series standards here, because most of the questions that you see around from in the exams perspective, they are either audit evidence related or mostly audit controls related and all that. So our prime agenda is to try and understand what exactly are going to form part of the 5 series, because not all standards can be covered in this session. You know that 5 series is one of the lengthiest standards series, and not only that, 5 series is also something that becomes very difficult for people to comprehend on their own and understand, but a lot of questions are always coming from the 5 series. So let's try and address all those points. And you can do one thing, after every standard or after every point that has been explained, if at all you have any queries regarding that particular point, or you have something that I haven't discussed or told, or if you want to ask something, you might as well obviously type in the chat box. And once I'm through with a particular content, I can obviously explain that as well. So let us go ahead and start the audit evidence series, trying to first understand what exactly are the standards that are going to come here. And in that process, let us try and address the maximum number of standards that we can. So first of all, talking about we are talking about audit evidence. So guys, in this session, we will be looking at all the audit evidence standards, basically, which deal with the 500 series, SA 500s. So starting with SA 500, which deals with audit evidence, SA 500 dealing with audit evidence predominantly. Then we have SA 505, which talks about taking external confirmations. Now we are also going to understand what is the meaning of the term external confirmation. Where are we going to get the external confirmations from? How are we going to use them for our audit? We are going to see that. Then we also have one very important, interesting standard called SA 580. SA 580 is about written representations. These are the three basic standards in the 5 series, because what constitutes to audit evidence, from where we can gather audit evidence, what are the procedures to perform audit, and from where we can gather evidence in those procedures, what part of that leads to external confirmation, that is also there. And 580 on written representations will help us gather evidence in addition to the other audit evidence that we have already gathered. Alongside this is standard number 501. Now standard number 501 is about special or selected items. 3 selected items are there, which are inventory, litigations and claims, and segment information. Those 3 selected items, what constitute to audit evidence for those 3 selected items? How are those items conducted in the audit? What will be sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with respect to those items is something that we have to deal with. Then comes a standard on opening balances, SA 510, which talks about opening balances. And this is exclusively when you take up the audit for the first time, which is called initial audit. Now, you know what constitutes to an initial audit? When we are taking up the audit for the first time, we will call it as an initial audit, where there was a predecessor auditor who would have conducted the audit in the past, and then we are taking over now. So there is a real reason as to why opening balances are being audited. Closing balances were not audited by us, and the same have been brought down as opening balances. So we have to see whether those balances have been brought down appropriately or not. Not only that, many people think 510 is only about opening balances, but not just thinking about opening balances, we also need to understand there are 2 more issues in the standard, which talks about following consistent accounting policies, and we also are going to talk about using any relevant information that is there in the predecessor auditor's report. I think this pretty much will sum up the basic 5 series standards. Of course, we have 520 and 530, but there are 2 different chapters altogether. 520 on analytical procedures, SA 520, which is one wing of the whole story, which talks about analytical review procedures. And then we have 530, which is on sampling. So these 2 are altogether different topics, which I think we will obviously have to discuss them separately. Then along with all this, you have 2 standards in the 5 series which are pretty critical. SA 560 which is on subsequent events. And SA 570, which is on going concern. So first and foremost thing, the two standards that I didn't touch here are 540 and 550. 540 is a standard which is not there for new syllabus. So if any of you watching out here are from the new syllabus, 540 is not there in your syllabus. Anyone from the old syllabus still continues to be there, but I think that standard can be of a lesser relevance at this point of time, because that isn't a commonly asked standard. But yeah, SA 550, which is on related parties, that could again be interesting standard. Okay, so yeah, those many are there. I guess you can see the wide spread of coverage in the 5 series. 5 series is one widest series, because our entire audit, it can sustain only when we have proper audit evidences. Even when later point of time after the audit is over, for the opinion that we have expressed, if there is any issue about the opinion that we have expressed, or if anybody is raising an issue about what opinion did we give, the only thing that is going to help us at a later point of time is the evidences that we have. So it's very, very important to understand what constitutes to audit evidence, when can it be called as audit evidence, which will help you enable express an opinion. Now we will see all that in detail. I guess this part is clear, because this is only the spread of standards that are there in the 5 series. Now moving from here on, we will go ahead and see what is the starting point actually. Let's start with the definition of audit evidence. From standard number 500, I mean SA 500, this deals with what constitutes to audit evidence. Now, you know very clearly that in terms of what exactly is audit evidence, we have a very, very important definition. Anything that you collect, okay, in paper, electronic, or any other form, okay, whatever you collect, it should be something that supports your conclusion. What is it? Any information, audit evidence is any information. It's not just about whether it is in printed form. Orally, somebody told you something, you cannot deny that, saying that they told it orally, so it's not audit evidence. No, whatever has been told orally, or whatever has been given in writing or printed documents, anything, any information used by the auditor, any information used by the auditor in arriving at a conclusion. So any information, whatever information you pick up, any information used by the auditor in arriving at a conclusion, that will be called as audit evidence. Now what I suggest you people who are doing this, I can tell you one thing. Simply listening to me doesn't make any kind of sense. So please pick up a notebook and make a summary notes, so that it will be pretty much helpful for you, while you actually refer later. You can understand the whole scheme of things in an order when you do it for yourself later. So if at all you have plans to revise things later and make it easy for you, then it's advisable that you go for maintaining some notes. Things will become more easier later. So any information which is used by the auditor for arriving at a conclusion is called as audit evidence. It can be in printed, or it can be in electronic form. It can be in physical form or electronic form. Those are the two forms of audit evidence. It can be physical or electronic. This is the fundamental definition of audit evidence. Now, where does this audit evidence come from? It's another important question. Where does this audit evidence come from? Sources of audit evidence. So anybody watching this, can you guys tell me what are the sources of audit evidence? Two sources. I've already drawn two branches, which means there are two sources. So can anybody watching this tell me what are the two sources of audit evidence? Come on. I mean, like, if it's interactive, it's even more productive. Otherwise, it will be like I have been going on telling something and you're simply listening to it. So, yeah. Can I see? Okay, Suparna has answered. Very good. Two sources which are internal and external. Very good. Can I also see some examples? That's great. What can be some of the internal evidences? Two sources. Okay, very good. I see a lot of answers. That's very good now. Nikhil, Aishwarya, Hari Krishna. Very good. So two cases here, internal and external. That's what we are looking at. Those are the two sources of audit evidence. Can I have some examples of internal evidences? Or what is the definition of internal evidence? Which is obtained from whom? Internal evidences are those. Okay, I was told that this is a revision session. I mean, don't behave like this is the first time you're watching an audit evidence standard. So yes, I want you to, along with watching, be participative enough. If you are answering wrong, also it's not a problem because that's how you learn. But if you're hesitant to even answer, then I don't know how can we put that across. Yeah. So what are the two things here? Internal, external. And what about internal? Can I get some examples for what constitute to? Yes, Ma Vaishnavi, that's right answer. Any more people saying that internal evidence are provided by? So evidences that are provided by management, they are called as internal evidences. Very good. Management books of accounts, sales invoices, and whatever has been obtained from management, they constitute to internal evidences. Talking about external evidences. Okay, somebody has already told the answer. Okay, see a dreamer. What's about? Yeah, internal from management. External are coming from where? External evidences. Okay, I'm still seeing obtained within the organization, which means I guess you're answering for internal. External are direct evidences. External are what? Direct evidences obtained from third parties. As third parties are somebody who are outside the organization. Bank statements, debtor creditor confirmations, all those can be. Okay, bank statement not provided by management. Bank statement that is provided by the bank directly. Bank statement, then debtor and creditor confirmations. So all these are in the nature of external evidences. Now we will have a debate on what is better, internal or external. Don't worry, I will obviously discuss that. But before discussing that, now that we've discussed the sources, it is also important for us to discuss the nature of audit evidence. Okay, we are also going to discuss the nature of audit evidence. So audit evidence can be classified based on two types. One is the source, other one is the nature. Based on nature, we have three types here. Anybody willing to take a guess on what are the three types of audit evidences based on their nature? Anybody there willing to take audit evidences based on their nature, the classifications? What are their classifications? Based on nature. Come on, give it a try. Okay, Nikhil, that's very good. Srinivas, Nikhil, Pana, fine, fantastic. What is it all about? Based on the nature, we classify evidences as oral evidences, documentary evidences, and visual evidences. Visual is what you see and understand. Oral is what somebody tells you, while documentary evidences are in printed form. Okay, so this is what audit evidence is. The classification of audit evidence can be, it can be physical, it can be electronic. Electronic evidences are very much accepted even in the court of law. We have the Information Technology Act that also authorizes so many electronic documents to be valid form of communication and valid form of evidence. And then based on sources and nature, this is how evidences are classified. Oral evidences are what somebody told, when you went for the audit, while documentary, which is in printed form, and visual are what you see with your eyes and try and understand what exactly are them. Now, very, very important point, we have to concentrate on this because there is a lot that comes from these two words that are going to be used. The two very important qualities of audit evidence. What are the two important qualities that audit evidence should have? Now, anything that supports your conclusion, whatever supports your conclusion, will definitely become audit evidence, no doubt about it. But along with that, they should have a couple of qualities. Only when they have a couple of qualities, then the audit evidence can be used. What are those two qualities that should be there in audit evidence? What are the two qualities that should be there in audit evidence? Is also a pretty interesting question. Can you guys take a try on this one as well? Yes, very good, very good. Lot of answers. Qualities, the two qualities of audit evidence are sufficiency, and we also have appropriateness. While sufficiency refers to the quantum of audit evidence that you collect, or quantity you can say, appropriateness refers to the quality of audit evidence that you collect. Sometimes you may collect very less evidence, less in size, but it's very qualitative. Sometimes you might collect a very qualitative evidence, maybe like only one or two sheets, but they may not be sufficient. So unless audit evidences are both sufficient and appropriate, unless audit evidence are both sufficient and appropriate, this thing will not really work around. So we have to have sufficiency and appropriateness. Okay, two things. Then let's talk about how can you measure in terms of what can be sufficient. Three factors are there. Three factors to measure sufficiency. What are the three factors that you will use to measure for sufficiency? Anybody wants to take a guess there? The three factors. When can you call audit evidences to be sufficient? Like, yes, this audit evidence is sufficient. Anybody taking a guess on sufficiency's 3 points? This is sufficient or not? Yes, that's right. Very good. First factor, materiality. Then 2. Yes, ma, very good. The ones who are answering materiality, that's right. Any more? Only materiality? Risk of material misstatement. Shortly, you will call it as RMM, risk of material misstatement. And then size and characteristics of population. Yeah, very good. So this one's a pretty straight one, no brainer. Higher the materiality, higher will be the obviously the audit evidence, because you can't collect less audit evidence when something is very material. Material items, you know already, that's a 3 series standard, not in our scope today, but I guess all of you know. Material items are those which are important from the judgment of the users. Anything that which can influence the judgment of user is called a material item. And if the materiality of a particular item is high, you also might want to collect higher audit evidences. Also, risk of material misstatement. Now I guess all of you know what is inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. You know the components of audit risk. So IR and CR, which is nothing but a combined assessment together, will be called as risk of material misstatement, which is how much is the chance of something being prone to a material misstatement in the financial statement. Now risk is a relative term. You can't measure risk in any kilos or meters or liters. Risk is a relative measure. So if we can only say high or low. Now if you say if the risk is high, okay, if the risk is high, then obviously you have to collect more audit evidences. While if the risk is low, you will obviously end up collecting lesser evidences. So the directly proportional risk of material misstatement. The last one, the third point, has two words: size and characteristics of the population. When you say size, the bigger the population, bigger or more the evidence you will collect. Characteristics, taking a guess here, anybody? Two characteristics are there. There can be two types of population. There can be two types of population characteristic. Sufficiency will depend on materiality, no doubt. It will also depend on the risk of material misstatement, and it's also depending on the size and characteristics of population. Internal, external, or sources. I'm talking about characteristics. Somebody is replying internal, external. No, I'm talking about, yes, there we go. That's right. We have two types of population. One is called a homogeneous population, and the other one is called heterogeneous. Okay, homogeneous and heterogeneous populations. What is homogeneous population? It's a population with similar characteristics, while heterogeneous populations are population with dissimilar characteristics. Now, if the population is more similar, why do you want to waste time doing the same thing more and more? So less evidence is sufficient. But if it is heterogeneous, the more heterogeneous it is, you have to collect more audit evidences. It's as simple as that. Okay. So sufficiency refers to the quantum of audit evidence, while appropriateness refers to the quality of audit evidence. Now, though we saw the three factors here, we're now talking about the quality part here. Quality of audit evidences depend on two factors. One is called relevance, and the other one is called as reliability. Relevance and reliability. Relevance and reliability are the two important factors that we need to consider. When we say relevance, what do you mean by relevant? Normally also when we are talking to others, I mean, when we tell something, if the other one is telling, like, it's not relevant, let's not talk about it. What do you mean by not relevant? It's not of our concern. Same thing when you apply to audit evidence, the audit evidence has to have some relevance. In other words, it's called logical connection. Now say you are seeing a rent agreement. You're auditing an area like rent. And when you're auditing an area like rent, that's when you would want to see a rent agreement. So rent agreement has a logical connection with rent. Okay. So like that, different areas. Let's say, for example, we talk about debtors. If for debtors, a direct confirmation from debtors, a very, very relevant audit evidence. Oh, no, sir, we can even pick that from the books of accounts. We can see the debtors ledger. We can get them. Okay, no doubt you can do all that. Nobody told you anything about all that. You can definitely get that. But having said all that, relevance, should there be a logical connection, then only it will obviously make any kind of sense. Relevance. Then let's talk about reliability. Now, reliability is not definitely going to be depending on one factor. There are 5 factors for reliability. I will explain that in detail. But meanwhile, I just want you guys to get a hold of these things and give me a confirmation that things are going fine with you. Are you able to understand? So I would just like to see you respond to that. Qualities of audit evidence. So till here, whatever I've discussed, so many things. Is everything till here clear? Because we start off with a slow pace, don't worry. Then as we go into things, we'll pick up pace. That's how it has to be, because I can't dump in or I can't simply come and read in. Okay. Yes from Vaishnavi, yes from Srinivas. So will you conduct a quiz for here? That I can't tell you here, I guess. So, but yes, I'm conducting quiz series. You can obviously watch out. This is only an exclusive today session, so videos on a little lag. Yes, I can't. Streaming from my side is pretty perfect. No problem. I think it should get better with time. So, yeah, those quiz I'm conducting in our other platform, right? So please stick to that. Okay, thank you. Right, now let's move on. Here we're going to talk about the 5 factors. It's a very important question. It's appeared in the exam so many times. So what are the 5 factors of reliability? Factors that affect reliability. Okay, quick and simple questions. I hope all of you can answer this. Very, very easy. External evidences are reliable or internal evidences are reliable? Now, I don't want you to blindly answer something. Think of what I asked. Are external evidences reliable or internal evidences reliable? External evidences are reliable or internal evidence are reliable? Let me see how many of you have got this question right. Okay, there I can see the first answer, but okay, everybody doing the same mistake. Come on. I asked you a very simple question. Which audit evidence, external or internal? Which one is reliable? Technically, guys, the ones who answered, yes, finally I find somebody, Alekya, is saying both. Guys, both are reliable. Why are you running behind only one? You can collect internal evidence also. You can collect external evidence also. Some people know, they go to an extent where they say internal evidence are not evidences only. That's totally wrong. External evidences are also evidences. Internal evidence are also evidences. Don't, jump to a conclusion that only external evidences are reliable. That's wrong. Rules of reliability state very clearly external evidences are more reliable. Now, there is a difference between saying reliable or more reliable. Okay, when I say reliable, yeah, internal are also reliable. Who told you no? If you have a client whose internal controls are fantastic, okay, then definitely they will be more reliable. So 2 rules can be made out of this reliability. Rule number 1, external evidences. Now, those of you who are having a notebook who's noting it down properly, you can write these 5 rules down. It could come in true or false. It could come in MCQs. It could possibly even come as a 3 or 4 marks question. It has appeared in the exam in the past. So this is one very, very important piece of standard number 500. External evidences are more reliable, and I want you to emphasize on this word more. They are more reliable than internal evidences. Okay, external evidence are more reliable than internal evidences. Rule number 2, however, internal evidences are also reliable. But when? Internal evidence are also reliable if internal controls are operating effectively. Okay, so external evidences are more reliable than internal evidences. However, internal evidence are also more reliable if internal controls are operating effectively. Now comes a very simple question. I think this everybody can get out of the nature that you saw oral, that we saw here. Oral, documentary, and visual. Of these three, which one is more reliable? Okay, come on. Of those three, which one is more reliable? Okay, I can see some answers. I'm yet to see some answers. Of these three, that forms reliability rule number 3. No, Ma Vaishnavi, that's not the answer, but others who answered documentary, yes. Documentary evidences, again the same point. Oral evidences, visual evidences, documentary evidences, everything is evidence. But documentary evidences are more reliable. Documentary evidences are more reliable than oral and visual. Okay, so that sums up 3 points down there very clearly, I guess. Now let's move on to point number 4. I think I can use this place. Okay, still, yes, everybody, very good. Whoever has said documentary evidence are definitely more reliable than oral and visual evidences, no doubt. Then comes a straight point. Audit evidences obtained by auditor independently. Now, what do you mean by independently here? Audit evidence is obtained by auditor independently, which means something where you are willing to go and get the evidence by yourself. That means it's not provided by management. You got it by your own way, like say bank statement. Asking the bank statement to the management is an easy task. You can just simply ask the management, please provide me with the bank statement. But you can as well go to the bank and represent yourself as the auditor and get a copy of the audit evidences. So that part, audit evidences are obtained independently, or you can rather say directly by the auditor, are more reliable than the ones provided by management. Audit evidence obtained by auditor independently are more reliable than provided by management. And the last point, anybody taking any guesses to the last one? What is the 5th rule of reliability? Quickly, if anybody remembers. 5th rule says what? Audit evidence. Okay, I think the somebody has already answered that. I don't want to read out because I want others to answer. Come on, audit evidence. What's the 5th rule of reliability? Okay, very good. That's right. Can I see more answers? Audit evidence, which are in what form? Okay. That's right. Audit evidence which are in the form of original documents. Audit evidence in original form are more reliable. Audit evidence original form are more reliable than what? Fax, photocopy, that is Xerox, scanned or digitized. Scanned or digital. I'm not saying, because nowadays some people are asking questions about, sir, everything is digital. Why do you still want the original document? I'm no way concerned about it being in digital form or not. I can obviously accept digital evidences. If the document itself is in digital form, then there is no way how we are talking about anything else, we can accept that. But if they give you a Xerox or anything like that, now see, sometimes it so happens that they might produce documents, and the documents can be tampered. Now we have so many softwares which can, scan document. Editing scan document is not a big deal. So unless you see the original, I'm not saying that unless I get a copy of the original document in duplicate, I will not. So if somebody provides you a scanned rental agreement, go through the rental agreement, but ask them to show the rental agreement once. Okay, you can't tell them that, I won't audit. So you have to strike a balance somewhere. But what I'm saying is, take that digital evidence or Xerox copy, take it as evidence, no problem. But to support this, just take a look at the original document once. Okay, so mostly certificates, registration certificates, rental agreements, other contracts, whatever they enter, see them once in the original form. Rest, I guess, you can, for documentation purposes, you can obviously keep an Xerox copy, or digital PDF also is fine. Okay, so I hope everybody is in line with the content that we have discussed till here, because this is the fundamental part of audit evidence, the big story. What is audit evidence? From which sources you gather audit evidence? What are the two broad qualities of audit evidence? And the factors that affect sufficiency, factors that affect appropriateness. And there is one last point that I would want to discuss from standard number 500 that we will close the standard with, is using the work of a management expert. Most people neglect this point. That is why I chose to pick this up. Using work of management expert. Now this is a quick question to all of you again there. Who is a management expert? Take this, come on, let's do this. Who is a management expert? Let me see who can give a right answer for this one. Who is a management expert? Very good. So I see some of you have joined now only. Some of you are actually, who've joined late, are not live with the video. So I guess the comments that are coming are from way back. So please try and get live and watch the other part later, because otherwise your comments are not in sync. No. That is wrong. Management expert is not top level managers. Okay, I see a lot of people joining newly. Anybody there? Just who wants to answer, who's a management expert? Because things are going to get more interesting now. We're going to go with the next standard on external confirmations and unfold many things further. Can we see somebody getting an answer to management expert? I told you this is an untouched part. Many people neglect it. That's why I wanted to pick this point up. I think 2 attempts back also they asked this question in the exam. Okay, there is one person who's given me the right answer. Very good. Any more? That's very good. What's the name? Suparna. That's very good. Management expert is somebody who is having expertise in a field. First, you need to understand expertise in a field other than accounting and audit. Okay. And somebody who's an expert in a field other than accounting and audit, whose work is used by management, whose work is used by management. Okay, other than, who's having something other than accounting and audit. That's a very critical point. He is not somebody who has knowledge in accounting or audit. If that is the case, then our team only will be having expertise in all that. Not that. Is somebody who has expertise in a field other than accounting and audit. Maybe you can think of somebody like a statistician who knows how to value inventories. Now, let's say we have so many types of inventories, like, liquid nitrogen is there, or sulfur, phosphorus. Lot of inventories are there in the pharma sector, which is beyond, possible to go and check them physically and all that. Then sometimes, we have tea heaps which are piled up. Tea leaves are piled up like small mountains, and like you can't go and weigh them. How many tea leaves are there? So there are petroleum, methane. There is lot of inventory which is in the nature of not so easy to measure. That's when these guys come into the story. Okay, just give me a couple of minutes. So many people have answered. I'll just get back to your comments. Okay, let me finish this. So expertise in a field other than accounting and audit, whose work is used by the management when in preparation of financial statements. So what happened? Management themselves don't know. No, I guess all of you know here that it is the responsibility of management to prepare and present financial statements. It is the responsibility of management for preparation and presentation of financial statement. But for preparation and presentation of financial statement, management should have a requisite skill, right? Now they don't know how to value inventories, and that's exactly where the problem arises. And if the problem arises, then they will appoint somebody who will bring in an expert who can do this job, and such a person is only called as management expert. Okay, yes, that's also a correct answer. Management expert is appointed by managers for a particular work. Nikhil, that's right. Yes. Okay, management expert is an actuary. Very good. Actuary is also a management expert. You can say actuary, or somebody who has detailed a degree in statistics, all those people. Now, that's not the question here. Okay, this is to know management expert. So the last thing we are going to close out is with, can the auditor use the work of management expert? This is the big question to close this entire story. Come on, and then let's move on. 4 more things I've lined up for you. Charts are useful. Very good. You can find charts on my Instagram page. You can go and check them for all standards. Detailed charts are there. Yes, you can check that. Thank you for saying that. Okay, guys, come on, get to the point on the question. Okay, now see, that's where a flat. This is the answer that I'm seeing there. Almost 6 or 7 people have already seen. I seen saying that, guys, if it's only the 3 letters YES, then why do we have to discuss the point? Simply you can go and use, no? You don't know who is the expert. You don't know whether he is competent or capable or nothing, and simply you are saying yes. Yes, when the organization allows. Organization, will they allow or not? Okay, somebody finally there. Nikhil, yes. 3 conditions. Can you? Okay, it's not right on my part to ask you to type all the 3 conditions, but very good. That's there. Very important point. There are three conditions. It's not a flat yes. Remember, it is a yes only when. It's a yes only when three conditions are satisfied. Okay, it's a yes only when what? Three conditions are satisfied. And what are those three conditions? One, expert, whoever you are talking about, you have to evaluate competence, capability, and objectivity. I hope all of you know what is objectivity, being unbiased. If that fellow is a biased fellow and he is supporting the management, how will you trust him? So expert should be competent, capable, and it should be objective. So first and foremost thing, before uttering those three letters yes, you should check whether he is competent, capable, and objectivity is there in his work. Two, understand the area of work where the expert is working. See, okay, I'm not asking you to become an expert in that area, but at least you should have a fair idea, no? Understanding of experts work, understanding of the expert work. And third point is you have to evaluate the appropriateness, unless these three things are done, you will definitely not say yes. Like all of you simply picked up your phone and typed yes. That's not how you do, because it's not so easy to decide whether to use the work of an expert or not. If you are willing to use the work of an expert, then it has to satisfy all these three conditions, and you have to evaluate the competence and capability. You have to evaluate competence and capability and the objectivity, of course, and understanding the expert's work. What work is he doing? How is he doing it? What constitutes to that work? I mean, like, what exactly is he doing in that? You have to understand that, and then also see. I'm not saying appropriate means, sir, who are you to check him? I'm not saying I'm somebody to check him, but all I'm saying is we can definitely try and understand what exactly is the kind of work that they did. We will, based on our professional understanding, we know, okay, this might sound correct or not. It's not like you blindly believe you have zero knowledge in that area, right? Inventories, though, let's say our valuation, we don't know how to do it, but at least we'll have a fair idea, no? If the total worth of that inventory in your idea should be 3 crores, expert says it is 3.1 crores, makes sense. You can write, discuss and debate and understand all. In your opinion, inventory is 3 crores, expert says it's 5 crores. Now when the outflows only 3 crores and he's saying 5 crores worth, then there is something serious to debate. So please understand, blindly believing that is not essential. So therefore you have to do these three conditions, and only when you are satisfied with those three, you will say yes. Otherwise you will not talk much about it. Okay, so that's exactly what we're trying to understand with the using of this particular story here. And that brings us to the end of our very first discussion on audit evidence, which is standard number 500, which is, of course, the vast standard with a great potential. Now, I'm going to quickly take you through to standard number 505, which is on external confirmations. 505 is a standard on external confirmations. What are external confirmations? We will discuss, but is everybody through and clear with standard number 500? That's what we've discussed in the last 45 minutes or so, because there's so many things in that. I hope everybody understood what constitutes to evidence and the qualities and all that. Okay, can we move ahead, guys, to 505? Is everything clear till 500? Okay. So Clear, very good. That seems to be like the whole story. Now let's move on to the next part as to what exactly are external confirmations. What are the what is the definition of external confirmation? External confirmation is a direct written response. It's a direct written response obtained by auditor from third party in paper, electronic, or any other form. Okay, you can go for an email, no issues. So what's the definition of external confirmation? It's a small standard. It shouldn't take us a long time to discuss this. So quick and easy. Let's do this. Standard number 505. What is it? It's an external confirmation, which is nothing but a direct written response. Okay, so there we go with a direct. It's a direct written response from the auditor. By the auditor is getting it from a third party. How are you getting it? You can get it in paper form, electronic, or even any other form. That does make a lot of sense. Okay, so that is exactly what an external confirmation is. Yes, somebody has answered it also right. Very good, Vaishnavi. External confirmations can be taken for any area wherever it's possible. There is no rule that you have to take it for this area only. You can't take it for another area. There is no tension about external confirmation like that. So you can comfortably take external confirmations for any area. 4 steps are to be followed while you discuss external confirmations. So how about external confirmation procedures? Very easy. No. Wait. Not about that. Positive, negative are not procedures. Hold on. They're the types of external confirmation. Procedures are following 4 steps whenever you say. First, determining the information to be confirmed. Determining the information to be confirmed. That is, are you going to go for debtors or creditors, or what is the information to be confirmed? What constitutes that information? That's the first thing that you have to decide. Determining the information to be confirmed. 2, from whom? Selecting the appropriate third party. Selecting the appropriate third party. Determining the information to be confirmed. Selecting the appropriate third party. Selecting what? Appropriate third party. Then designing the confirmation request. Designing the confirmation request. And then sending and follow up. Okay, so it's a very easy thing. Generally, I'm not somebody who kind of follows blind memory techniques and all that, but some places it emerges. That's why we use it. Otherwise, there is no reason other than concept, because see, this is a procedure. There is a flow. You can't write whatever you remember out of the 4. First I will write selecting means first I'll write sending the confirmation. It doesn't work. First it goes by DS. Okay, so it's about DS. It's a simple shortcut so that all 4 words will be there in your mind. You can't make this kind of thing for everything. It doesn't make sense also to do that. Okay, so follow the procedure. 9 out of 10 times you will be happy with that itself, but sometimes it's even kind of better to use these so that you will not be in a panic stricken stage later. Okay, so determining the information to be confirmed. Determining the information to be confirmed. Selecting the appropriate third party. designing the confirmation request, sending and follow up, all these are something that we need to really take care of. Then comes management's refusal. Sir, management, if they refuse, what should I do? If management refuse, management is telling the auditor that you should not send. Now, always management need not be right. At the same time, you always need not curse the management also. Sometimes when management says no, just go ask them what is the reason. Okay, whenever there is a management refusal, okay, so if there is a management refusal, I'm not saying stop doing the work and go away from there and all that. What to inquire the reasons. Yes, very good, ma. That's right. Inquire the reasons. And then you also have, right, that's also a very good answer. Alternate procedures. You can always check for alternate procedures. If alternate procedures are available, then do. Definitely, no, external confirmations are not the only way to do audit. External confirmations are not the only way to do audit. You can always do audit in varied forms. So there is no reason why you will not find an alternate procedure. You can always try and do a alternate procedure. First, inquire them about the reason, and if there is a reasonable justification, very good. But if management is bluffing, or if you believe that management's reason is somewhat very stupid, then don't buy that. Okay, sometimes they'll tell, sir, don't communicate with the third party, that may disturb them and all is a nonsense reason. Okay, so don't go by that. Management's refusal, if there is there, try and do alternate procedures. If you get evidences from alternate procedures, very good. If you don't, like say, if you are unable to get evidences from external people and you are unable to do alternate procedures, then that is one serious case where you will consider the effect on the audit report. Till then, things will go pretty fine. Okay, so one last part that I want to discuss from this standard are the two forms of confirmation request. Yes, now I can take your answers. Sometime back somebody was already giving my expected answers here. What are those two types of or forms of here? Positive confirmation, and negative confirmation. Can I get your involvement here? Yeah, I can see some of you answering that. So can you tell me what constitutes to a positive confirmation? A positive confirmation is something which is a confirmation where reply is expected from third party. Yeah, when is the reply expected from the third party? Reply is expected from third party. Can I see the answers? Come on. Okay, fantastic. There I can see the answer. That's good. Yes, in the event of both agreement and disagreement. Very good. Positive confirmation is a confirmation request where reply is expected from third party for agreement or disagreement. Both. Fantastic. Very good. Then, what about negative confirmation, guys? Negative confirmation is a confirmation request where reply is expected Reply is expected only in the event of disagreement. Where reply is expected only in the event of disagreement. Yes, Maheshwarya, that's right. Very good. So I can take all those answers. Fantastic. But listen carefully. Which one is more reliable? If you come to that debate on which one is more reliable, what is more persuasive? Positive confirmation. Okay. Or always much better than positive confirmations are more persuasive than positive confirmations are more persuasive than negative confirmations. Okay, so that's exactly what we are trying to actually deal with. So we have to understand that positive confirmation is something where we get the third party to reply whether it agrees or disagrees. But in negative confirmation, we are expecting them to reply only in the event of disagreement. But this one here, provided it's not one or two, but 5 conditions are to be satisfied. Okay, 5 conditions are to be satisfied. If I have to tell you all those 5 conditions, simple. 1, item contains a small amount. Item contains a small amount. 2, risk of misstatement or risk of material misstatement is low. Yeah, I can see some answers there. Very good. Can you guys tell me the other conditions? Huh? 5 conditions are to be fulfilled for negative confirmation. What are those? Where item contains a small amount, इसका misstatement is low. Okay, ma, very good. Low error rate or low exception rate. But before that, I didn't see one point. Where internal controls are effective for low exception rate or low error rate when you believe that the number of things that can go wrong are less. Low exception rate. And 5, where you believe that third party, okay, I can take this over, the third party will not disregard the request. You believe, or there's no reason to believe that the third party will disregard the request. Okay, purposefully he will disregard the request, he'll read it and not respond. When you believe that he will not do that, then these are the 5 circumstances or conditions where you can go for negative confirmation. First of all, it's a small amount, risk is low. There itself story ends. So negative confirmation is done only for items where the risk is a very, very low. Nothing beyond that. Okay. So that's the end of standard number 505. And quickly that makes me move to 580. So I hope people are clear with audit evidence and the characteristics and complete discussion about audit evidence along with standard number 505 on external confirmations. If you guys can keep telling me any doubt still here or anything can be asked, any otherwise simply if you have understood, you can simply say you understood as well. That'd be very good. Then I'm going to move on to SA 580 quickly because it's a very, very interesting and simple standard, written representations. These are all very important standards. So if you guys are more proactive, I can cover much more in the limited amount of time. So let's see. Okay. What do I take that silence as? Silence can be taken here as acceptance. What are you saying? Okay, Kavya, clear. Raf Pakka, na, very good, fantastic. Clear till now. What does that mean? Further you won't be clear or further I will not tell properly. Chalo, very good. Anyways, so what? Only 2 people are clear. Fine. Anyways, right. Let's move on to one of the most easiest standards called the written representation. For which first we need to know what constitutes to a written representation. Very, very simple, easy definition. Written representations are written statements. Obviously, it's a written statement. Written representation is a written statement provided by management. Okay, written representation is a written statement provided by management to the auditor. Now that's a very, very simple analogy. Generally, guys, I don't have much time to tell you all the fundamental secrets, but here I'll tell you one fundamental secret that I generally use for definitions. In English language, there are only 6 questions, 6 questionable aspects: what, why, where, when, how, who. Now, taking these all 6 questions may not be always relevant. Now, sometimes, when, unless it's a timing or a timing based event. Now, like say somebody is asking you, we have an auditing live session, then definitely they'll ask you when, because a time based event. Sometimes, nobody is going to come and question you what is a live session. What may not be a relevant question there. But in English language, there are only 6 questions. And what you need to do generally is, of these 6 questions, pick up the ones that are relevant to the situation. So sometimes what will be relevant, like in this case, let us, whatever I am writing in green color now, they are all the questions. So what is written representation? What is written representation? It's a written statement. Sure. Who gives it? That means who are the parties involved? Provided by management. To whom? To auditor. The big question that gets done is, okay, how is it given? Obviously, it's a physical form or electronic form, whatever, no problem. Why? That continues to be a big question. Where is not a relevant question here. Okay, where, how, and when, those 3 are not relevant in this discussion. So what, who, and why are very relevant. Written representation is a written statement provided by the management to the auditor. When you say why, there are 2 branches that pop up, not one, but we have 2 branches that pop up, and most of them have already given me the correct answer. Very good. And right now I can just see that it's fantastic. Somebody gave both the points correctly. To confirm certain matters. To confirm certain matters. Okay. Written representation is a written statement provided by management to the auditor to confirm certain matters. That means this is not the first time auditor is listening about something. He already worked on it. He already got an idea. Based on that idea, he came and asked the management, look, this is what is the story, what happened. So the management is confirming, saying yes or no. When they say yes or no, we don't want an oral yes or no, because sometime back only you learned that written evidences are more reliable. What if tomorrow management says we never told? So that is why, to confirm certain matters, we take it in writing. Or auditor already did some work. He already gathered audit evidences. To support those audit evidences, if you want something, to support those audit evidences, if you want something, there also you can obviously go for written representation. So the second branch is in support of. In support of other audit evidences. So what is written representation? Written representation is a written statement. Okay. Written representation is a written statement provided by the management. Provided by whom? Management to the auditor to confirm certain matters or in support of other audit evidences. That's it. So we are not doing anything different, anything new. All we are doing is to keep it very, very simple. Written representations, a very interesting standard. It's kind of very easy also. A written statement provided by the management to the auditor to confirm certain matters or which is in support of other audit evidences. So this is what the bigger story is. The question arises, in what areas can we take written representation? Any guesses? What areas can take written representations? Okay. In which areas can you take written representations? I'm able to see some answers here to confirm certain matters. Okay. Okay. To confirm certain matters. Okay. So clear till now and all of those answers. Very good. Anybody taking a guess on this one? In which areas do you think written representations are taken? Okay. As I told you, somebody is way behind our life. So their answers are not something to my questions right now. Okay, come on. Yes, finally, very good. I get one answer there. Written representations. Whose responsibility is to prepare and present financial statements? It is a responsibility of management. So written representations are taken from management for preparation of financial statements. Nothing but they authorize that it is their responsibility. Yeah, this is my responsibility. This is how I have to deal with. So they will take preparation of financial statements. 2, preparation of financial statements, of course, in accordance with the FRF. That's true. Very good. In accordance with the financial reporting framework. Then, back in standard number 210, if you guys remember, management will agree saying that yes, we will provide auditor with all the information that is necessary for the auditor to do the audit. So, for all information provided and completeness of transactions. Yeah, very good. You can say that also, ma. Yes, correct. Description of management's responsibilities. Perfect. Written representations can be taken for preparation and presentation of financial statement. Management's responsibility to provide information provided and for completeness of the transactions. And the third one is written representations for other areas, or simply you can say other representations which auditor asks. So like sometimes auditor wants to take a written representation in the area of related parties or litigations and claims. For all that also auditor can take that into consideration. Okay, so that is what are the 3 areas where we can take confirmation in writing from the management. Written representations for management's responsibility to prepare financial statements. 2, for the information to be provided by the management. Yes, it is our responsibility to provide the information, and we have provided that information. Like that, management has to give it in writing. That, and then whatever are the other areas that auditor asks for, you can give. You can give that there also. Okay. So these are the 3 points that, in the context of written representations, we can take. Now, to conclude this part of our discussion on written representations, I have 2 very, very interesting cases that are arising. Okay, auditor requested written representations. What did auditor do? Auditor has requested written representations. And when the auditor has requested written representation, there are two situations that took place here. Okay, one, requested written representation not provided. Okay, now this is very bad. You requested, they didn't provide you at all. Second one, requested written representation provided. Requested written representation provided, but there is doubt as to the reliability. It's a very critical point, this one. So that's the end of the standard there. Requested written representation. So can anybody take this further and give me the answer? I'm looking at the chat box for the answers now. Can I get some answers here? What will you do? A requested written representation is not at all provided, or it's provided but there is a doubt as to the reliability. After taking that writing also, auditor is not happy somehow. It's like, no, these people might have done something. So he's still of the opinion that he's not 100% happy. So what will you do there? Discuss with management. Okay, I get that. Determine the effect on what? Determine the effect on what? But is straight away determine the effect, or is something else? Come on, guys. Perform additional procedures. Okay, fantastic. Because there are no options left with us. So you request a written representation that is not provided. What will you do? You will stage a dharna in front of their office saying that unless you provide written representation, I will not move. There is no way how you can stop yourself. Hold on. So in both the cases, see, they provided, but you somehow don't feel that that is very reliable. Then in both these cases, you have an option of doing what? Perform additional audit procedures. Perform additional audit procedures. And in this extra case here, it's a very important point to note. If whatever they provided and you are unhappy with it, will this also make you doubt the other evidences that they provided till now? This case extra, you will have re-evaluate the integrity of management. This point is becoming very serious. This is like, sir, if the representation they gave itself is like this, what about the other evidences that they gave till now? Could they have faked up some evidences there also? Pretty much possible. In this area, whatever they gave you, that itself you are believing to be fake. Then in the other area also, they must have given a fake evidence. Who knows? There is no hard and fast rule. No, that is the problem. There is no hard and fast rule here. That is exactly why we need to try and keep this intact, re-evaluate the integrity of management, re-evaluate the integrity of management, and perform additional audit procedures. Alternate procedures, you can say. Okay, rather than saying it as perform additional procedures, we will say perform alternate procedures. That makes sense. Perform alternate audit procedures. Now, if both are not possible, okay, chalo, I see a lot of answers. Yes, ma, very good. Discuss with management, reevaluate integrity, determine possible effect on opinion, issue disclaimer. Okay, very good, very good. And yes, possibility of fraud. Yeah, there could be a possibility of fraud as well. That is also there. So finally, we can conclude there saying that So if requested written representations are not provided or provided but not reliable, perform alternate procedures to see if you can get the evidence from elsewhere, reevaluate the integrity of management, and I can simply close this by saying determine the effect on audit report. Okay, yeah, rather you can simply say disclaim. Since this is a revision session, I can use the word disclaim because people know it. But generally in classes, when we teach the 5 series of standards, we might have not discussed the 7 series of standards. So many people will not understand what disclaimer is if they are listening to the standard for the first time. But I guess all of you are writing the exam, so you know the whole syllabus, you know what disclaimer means. So we can say determine the effect on the opinion and you might disclaim. Okay, so that sums up the story of 580. Everything that you see on the screen, we've covered all major points in 580. And when can you take a written representation? Yeah, it's a very critical question also. When? Can I see an answer for when a written representation can be taken? I use the space to write. When can a written representation be taken? Any answers on when can a written representation be taken? Come on, come on, come on. When can it be taken? So written representations. Okay, very good. As near as practicable to. As near as practicable to, but not after. As near as practicable to, but not later, you can say. But not later to the date of audit report. So whenever you finish all your work and you are about to give an audit report, to support the audit report as near as practicable to, just when you have as near as practicable to, but not later than a date of audit report, you can always go for what is called as an audit report. Sorry, a written representation, I mean. Okay, so that sums up the whole story here. As near as practicable to, but not later than the date of audit report. This is what we have in terms of standard number 580. I hope that gives an insight to everybody on what standard number 580 is. So that brings us back to standard number 501, which is a very, very important, interesting standard. I think that I should cover. Yes, Ma, right. Those people updates of CA, that is somebody's handle name. So yeah, so you are right. Suparna is also right. Kusumalata is also right. Very good. So yeah, the ones who are giving the answers and being participative, very good. Appreciate that. Now, all I want you guys to do is to go around with standard number 501. Now here I have 3 selected items for which we have to discuss what constitute to sufficient appropriate audit evidence. The 3 selected items that are being discussed here in standard number 501 are inventory, litigations and claims, and the third one is segment information. The question is, what constitutes to sufficient appropriate audit evidence? What constitutes to sufficient appropriate audit evidence in case of inventory, in case of litigations and claims, and in case of segment information? That is our ultimate idea in discussing this standard number 501. Now, when it comes to inventory, we have a few points to talk about. what are we going to evaluate with respect to inventory? I'll just give you, it's a very, very simple part. Anybody willing to take a guess? What do we check about inventory? Two words. As per standard number 501 or 501, we have to check two things about inventory. What are those two things? Anybody taking a guess there? Okay, I don't see. Shall I go for it? Okay, ma, very good. That's right. So whenever we talk about inventory, we talk about two things: existence and condition. Whether the inventory really exists, is it in a saleable condition? Okay, is it in a saleable condition? Because if you don't see it to be in saleable condition, yes, ma, physical existence and condition. Very good. All of you who have been giving answers there, very nice. Existence and condition, both these can be cross-checked by way of physical verification. Correct? Both these can be cross-checked based on what? Physical verification. Now, some interesting questions crop up at this point of time. Sir, what if I'm unable to conduct? Now, you all know that physical verification is a responsibility of. Can I see the answers for this question? Physical verification of inventory is the responsibility of. Physical verification of inventory is the responsibility of. No, that is exactly why I asked this question. Physical verification of inventory is a responsibility of. No, not auditor. That is the wrong answer. That is why I was asking this. Physical verification is a responsibility of management. Okay, physical verification. Yes, physical verification is a responsibility of management. And when you say physical verification is a responsibility of management, when management is conducting it, then what should auditor do? What is the role of auditor then? You can only do one thing. You can go and do observation. Okay. I guess I didn't pick up in standard number 500, but I guess all of you know the methods to obtain audit evidence, right? You want me to discuss that? I think I can do that because we are discussing 5 series only. Though I missed it there, I want to discuss it here. Audit evidence. You remember the 7 methods? I can give you a shortcut and you have to remember this for a long time. So IOI RARE. These are the 7 methods to grab audit evidences. Inspection. Okay, inspection. Then we have observation, inquiry, recalculation, analytical review procedures, re-performance and external confirmations, right? So all these are something which one needs to take into consideration. Okay, so this is what it is all about. IOIRARE, the 7 methods, though I didn't discuss in the beginning, but I thought it'll be better to discuss now. So if management is conducting the physical verification and auditor does observation there by being present there physically, it's enough. You don't have to do anything dramatic. You just go there, be there. That will be enough. Okay, so and you can conduct recalculation and all that. But the point arises when you are unable to attend on the date when management is conducting that verification. If auditor is unable to attend, understood, on a particular date, auditor is unable to attend, then what will you do? There is one more condition that I will discuss, but first you tell me, if the auditor is unable to attend on the date when management is conduct the physical verification on a later date. What will you do? You will conduct the physical verification on a later date and adjust for intervening transactions. Okay, so this is where the story starts for the auditor. Let us do it on a later date. Okay, so conduct physical verification on a later date and adjust for intervening transactions. Okay, this is the basic idea. And when fundamentally things are clear for you, only then you will understand this. So please concentrate. Sir, when can we go and do? You can go and do anytime. But first of all, that is not required. It is a responsibility of management. When they are doing, you can either be present there, that is as part of you or your team, you can send there, let them observe, and you can perform test counts, no problem. But if you are not able to go on that day, whatsoever be the reason, you are not in town or staff is not available, whatever, then headache is yours. You have to do it on an alternate date and adjust for these intervening transactions. What are these intervening transactions? As I told you now, only intervening transactions are those which occur between the balance sheet date and actual count date. Well, say 31st March is the balance sheet date. You are going there on 5th April or 6th April because it was not possible for you to go there on the 31st March or 1st April morning. You were not able to go. So you went on 6th April or 10th April. So from 31st to 6th or from 31st to 10th, whatever gap has happened, we ought to take that into consideration and adjust for them. That is only called intervening transactions. Okay. This, if we are unable to attend, I am ready to attend. Okay, listen to this carefully. Yes, ma Vaishnavi, that is correct. Transaction between balance sheet date and count date. Now I want something very, very important to be understood because that's the closing part of the story. Inventory, I am ready to go and check that. But it is not practicable. Inventory verification is not practicable. You know, when I say it is not practicable, what does it mean? Not practicable means, think of something like liquid nitrogen, methane, petroleum, petrochemical products. There are a lot of inventory items in pharmaceuticals which physical verification is not possible. because the exposure to them could be of great danger. Okay, when some company maintains sulfur, phosphorus, ammonium nitrate. So there are a lot of critical areas where I am 100% ready to do physical verification, but it is not practical for me to go there and do that. When inventory verification is not practicable, even after involving an expert or whatever, okay, you can do one thing. You can obviously perform alternate procedures. And when even alternate procedures are not possible, then you will modify opinion. That modify opinion is the last option. Not practicable, modify, no. And it's not practicable to physically verify it. Check the document. There are so many other ways to do it. No, not attention. You can always do it. Okay. But it's very, very important for us to take an understanding of what it is. Before we come to some conclusion, we need to see whether any alternate procedures exist, because see, there are a lot of ways. You can check the invoices. Okay, you can check the inventory records. There are a lot of ways. So physically seeing inventory is not the only method in the world. No. So you can obviously perform alternate procedures, and if that is also not possible, finally you got to modify the opinion. Is everybody clear with inventory? One last point. Inventory under the control of third party. When inventory is under the control of third party. What is it, inventory under the control of third party? When inventory is under the control of third party, that is like consignee, anything, C&F agent, goods sent on sale or return basis. There are a lot of ways. So when inventory is under the control of third party, you can take a direct confirmation. Okay, or you can go there and perform inspection. Physically, you can go to the third party and check. If that is not possible, you want to take a direct confirmation from the third party, you can as well do that. There is no harm. So I hope everybody is clear with the inventory part. If you can give me a confirmation on that, we will proceed to the other two areas and then try to wrap up this on a high note, because we have completed kind of 4 big standards, and that should be a great thing to deal with. Come on. So litigations and claims is another critical area. We'll go into that. Okay, clear. Very good. Now let's move on to litigations and claims. It's a very simple thing. Litigations and claims, first of all, they are in the nature of what is called as contingent liabilities. Okay, they are in the nature of contingent liabilities, and since they are contingent liabilities, they won't come in the P&L and balance sheet. They will come in the notes to accounts. Now you went and asked the management, are there any litigations and claims? Listen carefully, it's a very interesting thing. You went and asked the management, are there any litigations and claims? Management is saying, no, there are no litigations and claims. Literally not even one. Okay, cool, fine. One more situation. You went and asked the management, are there any litigations and claims? And management said, yes, we have 4 pending litigations, the details of which are given in the notes. Now you picked up the notes and you started reading 1, 2, 3, 4 pending litigations are there. In the first case, management said no pending litigations. In the second case, management said pending litigations are there, only 4 of them which have already been disclosed in notes. This is what management told. Now my point, and the only point that I need to understand here very clearly is, really are those the only 4, or whether they are not at all there? Can you guys answer? How do we do this? It's my question. It's a very simple thing. If management is saying that there are no pending litigations or there are only 4 pending litigations? How do we confirm this? First of all, how will you know how many litigations and claims are there? Anybody willing to take up this? How many litigations and claims are there? How will you deal with this? Come on, guys. Any idea on how we can deal with this? Okay, very good. The 3, I can see some of you auditor can observe, in-house legal counsel, review minutes. Okay, first and foremost thing, you don't have to go here and there. First ask the management. It's the best way to always start the audit. Inquire the management. Inquire the management. Just give me a minute. We set this up. Okay, the screen has been missing. Just a second. Okay, I think we're back at it. Just a thing. So what will you be doing here? Step number 1, inquire the management. 2, review the minutes of the meeting. Anything, minutes of the meeting held, whatever are there, you can review that. Inquire the management. Review the minutes of the meeting. And 3, check legal expenses. Check the legal expenses account. You can do all these 3 to have an understanding of what you should do with respect to litigations and claims. Okay, inquire the management, that is ask them. Review the minutes of the meeting and check the legal expenses. By doing these 3, you will get a fair idea as to whether litigations and claims exist or not. Okay, but to support this, what is the most important thing? Take a written representation. The standard that I explained you some time back. A written representation. You need to take a written representation saying what? That all known litigations and claims, all known litigations and claims that management is aware of, all known litigations and claims that management is aware of has been disclosed to the auditor. Has been disclosed to the auditor. That's it. It's a very easy thing. Take a written representation from the management. First you ask them, whatever you told us till now, is it okay? I mean, like, management will obviously say yes. Ask them to give it in writing. Because if requested written representation is not provided, then you can obviously consult legal counsel. If that is also not possible, or you can modify the report as per SA 705. Okay, so this is what you are supposed to do when it comes to litigations and claims. Litigations and claims are those areas where in the auditor's professional judgment such things require a disclosure in the notes to accounts. So for which he is reviewing the legal expense account, checking the minutes of the meeting, inquiring the management, and after an oral inquiry, if the management says litigations are not there. Management is saying what? That litigations are not there. Or management is saying that 3 only are there, 4 only are there, whatever be the situation. The management has to confirm the fact by giving a written representation. By giving what? By giving a written representation. And a written representation is nothing but a written statement provided by the management to the auditor to confirm certain matters. What are they confirming? That all known litigations and claims which the management is aware has been told to the auditor. That they are not hiding anything from us. That they are not hiding anything from us is what we need to take. If you request and they provide that written representation, fantastic. If they don't provide that, then obviously it's a lack of audit evidence situation. We'll try to do alternate procedures. If that is also not possible, then modify. And the third specific item in this standard, the third specific item that we are talking about in this standard is segment information. That's nothing much to deal with because standard didn't talk much about it. You have a standard called A17 which talks about segment information, which is the applicable FRF, for that particular segment information. And the standard asks you to collect evidences. So as an auditor, you have to collect sufficient and appropriate evidences to say that everything was performed in accordance with standard number 17, nothing more than that. Okay, so there's a small paragraph actually. There is no big discussion only about it. Whether segment information is presented as per the applicable FRF. And what is the applicable FRF? AS17. So in other words, whether the entire segment information is presented as per AS17. That's the question. If the answer is yes, you can say yes. If the answer is no, you can discuss it to be no. Okay. So yes, those are the 3 selected items from standard number 501. Okay, so the topic for today was on audit evidence, precisely the 500 series standards of audit evidence. And of course, we don't have the luxury of time to discuss all the 10 standards. So I thought at least we have to cover 50% of those. In fact, it's very decent that in the limited amount of time, we could cover 4 broad standards and discuss audit evidence in that great detail. So we discussed, to sum up, we discussed what is audit evidence, sources, nature, the 7 methods by which you can obtain audit evidences, sufficiency, appropriateness, factors affecting them, 5 rules of reliability, using the work of management expert. Including that, we discussed everything. Then 501 and its 3 selected items, 505 procedures for external confirmations, and 580 on written representations. So yeah, in this limited time, I think the 4 wide standard, generally it takes at least 1 hour for each of this standard to be discussed in class. More than that actually, because in audit evidence there is so much of depth. Each point we'll discuss in so much detail. So is the case with litigations and claims, inventory, lot of practicalities involved. But from the limited perspective, we can do that. Yeah, one more point I can clarify is standard number 510, because 510 is, I don't want to deal it in detail. I'll tell you, 510 is applicable to initial audits. Okay, 510 is about initial audit. So you take up for the audit for the first time. We'd want to confirm three things here. Whether opening balances okay, opening balances. Two, talk about consistency in accounting policies. Now you know that consistency is a fundamental accounting assumption. We have to consistently follow our accounting policies. And can you guys tell me when can we break the rule of consistency? Question is very simple. When can we break the rule of consistency? So miss the beginning. If you come late, what can we do, ma? There was a story on my Instagram. Yes, I put up in the afternoon itself. From 2 days, been telling everybody that I'll be coming live. Okay. Again, quick. Guys, quick. I want to just wrap this up by asking you that question. When can we breach the rule of consistency when it comes to accounting policies? Okay, there you go. The team is saying that this video will be available after. Okay, fantastic. So after this session, the video, they will make it available. So it's not going to go anywhere. So those of you who came late or who didn't watch it from the beginning can go there and watch. Okay, thank you, team there. Oh, yes, ma, fantastic. One, when there is those three conditions, guys, from your childhood, you are learning those three conditions. When you picked up learning accounts, what is that? When it's required by a statute, required by another accounting standard, or it results in better preparation and presentation of financial statements. Now, all I'm saying is you can definitely use these three conditions to change the accounting policy. No harm in that. Break the rule of consistency. But one of these three conditions, but what it requires is a proper disclosure. It requires a proper disclosure. Now, what standard number 510 asks you to do is, since you were not the auditor last year, somebody else was. Who is he called? Predecessor auditor. The auditor before us is called the predecessor auditor. Predecessor auditor audited financial statements. Take them. Now the financial statements that you are auditing, take them. Compare and see whether there is consistency. If accounting policies are followed consistently, if accounting policies are followed consistently, then it's totally cool. You can just check the consistency and move further. Okay. Having said that, if there is a breach in consistency, like last year they followed something, current year they're not matching, immediately you don't have to jump to a conclusion that some fraud is there or something. Relax. See why they changed and whether there is a proper disclosure about the change along with the reason for such change. Change and the reason for such change. That's it. If this is there, very good. If that reason is not given, that is a required disclosure is not given, and if you don't see this reason, you will again modify as per SA 705. Same thing with opening balances. Whether opening balances have been brought down properly. If opening balances have been brought down properly or not, you will collect sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. If they have been brought down properly, no issues. But if there are any discrepancies and if opening balances have not been brought down properly, obviously, if opening balances are wrong, irrespective of how good the current year numbers, current year closing balance are wrong. So if opening balance are not brought down properly and auditor has audit evidence or does not have audit evidence, now these two are cases that lead again to standard number 705, which is also about modifying the opinion. Qualified or adverse, qualified or disclaimer, which evidence, which opinion will you give will totally be dependent on whether you have evidence or not. Opening balances and consistent. Third point is relevant information from predecessor auditor's report. Relevant information from where? From predecessor auditor's report. If predecessor auditor, somebody who is a predecessor auditor, if that person has given a report, let's say he gave a modified report, whether that is relevant in the current year, you have to see. If it is relevant in the current year, whether the management has made adjustments with respect to that. If they have made adjustments, very good. If adjustments are required, but the management has not made it, then again it will lead to standard number 705. There are three simple items: opening balances, consistency in accounting policies, and relevant information from predecessor auditor's report. So 500, 501, 505, 510 and 580. So within this limited time, I could cover these 5 very important standards from the audit evidence series. I hope this session was helpful for the ones whoever have been studying. If there is any gap in preparational aspects to correct, that is when these revision sessions come handy. So please work on, if you are unable to connect to any part of the session, I request you go back and kind of connect with those and refer. With practice, things will become better. And so that's it from my side. Yeah, okay, all clear. Thank you. Yeah, okay, cool, guys. And so that's it from my side. My name is Harish Krishnan, and it's a great time that I had explaining these standards. And thank you for inviting me, our Chengalpattu branch of SIRC. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to connect with students. And this video will be available on their channel after this is done. So you can always come back. I have a lots of, if in the greater interest of students, if you want to connect with me, it's Harish Krishnan. That's the ID of mine. You can always connect with me on YouTube and Instagram, so that there are lots of information which is helpful for students that we are putting there, that I'll personally be putting there. So it's not got anything to do with anything else. So therefore, I wind up my part here, and I wish you all the best for the coming exams. Take good care, prepare well, and yeah, I wish you all the best. Company audit, yeah, okay, I can't, I don't know if I can announce here or not. Can I? There are a lot of videos are there on my YouTube channel, please, or paper presentation about revision session. There are a lot of them upcoming also. So if you guys can wish to go there and check it out. I can't tell you more details. I don't think it is appropriate to tell that. Can I, Annapurni, if
Sir, actually on 27th Sunday, we are having a session on company audit by
okay.
Kamal Garg, sir. I was about to announce that. The
Achha, okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Students, this is for your information. On 27th September, Sunday, from 3 to 5, we are having a session on this same YouTube channel, a live session on the topic company audit for intermediate and IPCC students by CA Kamal Garg, sir. For company audit, you can watch that session, which will be live from 3 to 5 p.m. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable inputs, and it has been a wonderful session, an interactive one too. And I thank you. I thank all the students who has been a part of this, who were very interactive. And then As sir said, this video will be available in this YouTube channel itself. Once the live broadcast gets over, you can view the same and make use of it. All the very best to all of you. On behalf of our SICASA, I would like to tell that I would like to tell you all that we are having many more revision sessions on other papers too. Keep following us. And for your information, on from Sunday till Monday, we are having a 8-hour session on EIS and SM by CS Bharat Kumar sir from Chennai. You can attend that also. The posters for the same will be shared in our Instagram, WhatsApp, and also our Facebook pages. This is the YouTube channel through which we'll be coming live. Attend and you can make the best out of it. All the very best to all of you for your exams. Happy learning all. I once again thank Harish Krishnan sir for taking time out of his busy schedules and putting up a session with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, please take care. Please do take care of yourselves. It's I mean, like don't indulge in traveling here and there. Can I take a minute, ma, just to conclude?
Yes, sir. Sure, you can. You can.
Yeah, please. I've been getting a lot of questions on whether exams will happen and all. Now things have eased up very much. So all of you, please do take very good care of yourselves. Stay home and focus on your preparation. Like I said, I mean, the exams have to happen and there should be no delay. So but you take proper care, study hard, and lot of help is there around. You can always get on YouTube and see so many revision sessions are going on. So stay connected and stay motivated. That's more important. And once again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay. And yes, some of you have been commenting for which I didn't reply. Please excuse me on those. I mean, like, I sometimes miss what do you say, responding on Instagram and things. Yes, I did ignore a few comments, so I'm really sorry about that. I will make sure that I will respond the next time. Thank you so much. Good night, guys.